Hi students. If you're watching this video, you have access to my Google Classroom, which means that you are enrolled in my Introduction to Psychology class. I want you to share this message with your parents, with your guardians, with the people that are responsible for you. And I just want to give you a little bit of an idea about how I'm going to be conducting class as best as I can at this moment. A little bit about me. My name is Nicole Ritter. I've been in education for 23 years. This will be beginning my 13th year at Indian Land High School, and I'm passionate about learning. So how I'm going to be conducting psychology class is really based upon some research that I've been conducting over the last 3.5 years. And it focuses on a classroom model known as the flipped classroom. You'll probably hear this a lot over the course of the next few weeks. And the flipped classroom is exactly what it sounds like. We are flipping the idea of what the traditional classroom looks like. So since I'm going to be with your students for 2 days a week, we have to make the optimum use of class time. And as you see from this infographic right here, so the traditional classroom, we might think of the teacher's role as the sage on the stage, which is a term I really don't care for because I think it's kind of corny, but we're used to the teacher standing in front of the class, transmitting the information, and then those students being perfect little sponges and remembering everything that we say. Life doesn't happen that way. So we flipped this idea of the traditional classroom. Now you're going to be watching videos at home, which includes lecture. Now the great part about that is you have access to that lecture anytime that you want. You can watch it on your own time. You could watch it at your own speed. You can speed it up if I talk too slowly for you. You can give your full amount of attention to that lecture instead of the kid who is distracting all of us in the classroom. Or, hey, I'm not done yet. Wait for me. I'm catching up. Those things aren't going to happen. You do that on your own time. And then in the flipped classroom, the teacher's role switches from sage on the stage, blah, 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 this is what you need to know, to guide on the side, where I give you what you need to know, and your role as a student is to ingest that outside of class. So you come to class in the flipped classroom, the 2 days a week that I'm going to see you, having already viewed the lecture, come to me ready with questions about that content and fully prepared to implement those things that I've already lectured to you about. Now, I instituted this last year, so my timing on this has been pretty great because I've already got my videos made, and I structured research around 3 research questions about motivation, perceptions, and learning in a flipped classroom. So my research in this questions were, what happens to student motivation in a flipped classroom? What happens to learning? And how do students feel about that? And my research conclusions showed me that motivation increases due to a variety of classroom activities. Here's the trick. Since I only see students 2 days a week in this setup, I want to make the optimum use of that class time. Now, what does that look like? It may look like we're outside twirling around. It may look like we're inside trying to figure out how we're going to collaborate with one another. We'll get there. We're going to do hands-on activities. We may be making models. We may be doing worksheets, and we may be reading together. But these things, I do a lot of different fun activities in class. Optimum use of class time. I'm not going to waste your time. And with that, the cell phones, we've been off school for, well, not off school, but we have been off school for at least 2 months, June and July. So this has to be put away. It's not going to have a place in our class. We're just going to be too busy, in my opinion. Learning happens in the flipped classroom. Look, this is the best thing about this, is like you're learning outside of class, like you're getting my lectures outside of class. You come to class and you use that information. You put it to good use. And then students appreciate the effective use of class time, because what this does for us is it frees up class time. Like I said, we're not sitting in class taking the notes. We're not listening to the teacher drone on and on. I want to make, since I love this new learning landscape that we're coming into, and I want to make this the best opportunity for you as absolutely possible, and for me, because hey, if I'm not having fun, I know that you're not having fun, and I know that it's just not getting in there. So there's a couple things that have to happen in a flipped classroom. So this approach is dependent on two things, and one is relationships, and that those relationships are between you and I, but also between your classmates. We have to be able to work together, to collaborate, to share ideas. The flipped classroom approach is largely dependent on prior knowledge. And so your biggest job is to make sure that you're ready to come to class. When you come to class, you need to have all those things done which are expected of you. This helps me then form better relationships with you. I don't have to make sure, hey, did you get that? Did you write this down? You know, those things are a thing of the past, and we're going to get beyond that. And secondly, this transition from a passive learner to an active learner. If we go back to this graphic, you see that in the traditional classroom, students are seated, they're perfect little angels, and like I said, little sponges. In the flipped classroom, the teacher's role as guide on the side, students are working together, they're collaborating, they're sharing their prior knowledge. And so for an example, you may be learning about classroom development, childhood development, and you watch a video outside of class, you come to class, and you're prepared to share what you learned from that video. That's the expectation. You share it either with me, you share it with a classmate, we share it on a Google Doc because we can't be close together, but we'll share it some way, shape, or form. So you have to be ready to make that transition from a passive learner, one that is seated like a perfect little angel. The passive learner wants the teacher to give them, what do I need to know for the test? That ain't gonna happen with me, okay? You're transitioning to the active learner where you participate in your education. You are the builder, and what you learn is really up to you. It is unlimited as well, too. I've already given on the Google Classroom. All the material is there. We'll talk about that more later. I get pretty fired up about this, so I could talk a lot about it. Hey, there's still a lot of unknowns about 2020 in our class, but I want you to know that if we if the unforeseen happens, we have to make adjustments. We're going to make those adjustments. And no matter what this educational landscape looks like, we're going to have a great semester. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you and seeing you on Monday or seeing you on Thursday or even seeing you on Wednesday or seeing you through a computer screen. I don't care. I've been looking forward to this since, well, I've been looking forward to working with you. Finally, if you need to get a hold of me, this is the best way to reach me. And again, looking forward to seeing you soon.